Before we begin, since this is a BBC-owned property, I feel the need to point out that the news arm of the BBC has a continuing issue with transphobic leanings in its news coverage. You can find in a pinned comment below various videos from both myself and other YouTubers covering this issue. And while I understand that the Doctor Who creative team is not responsible for this, I will continue to point this out for as long as it remains a consistent issue. Thank you. So folks around here know that I like to try to some degree cosplay as the Doctor whose work I'm reviewing, at least in the modern era. I'll see what I can throw together for this look, but I'm not growing a mustache. Yep, we have a reveal of the costume for Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, still officially designated, as well as Ruby Sunday, his companion. I will be talking almost not at all about her outfit because I don't have a high investment or much to base anything that my thoughts are on. It's fine. I will say the two of them paired together, it almost looks like a photo shoot. Focusing on Gatwa, which is what I want to talk about. I don't know how long this video is going to get. Probably one of the shorter ones that'll be on the main channel. But like, I got to talk into this because the thing is, some people might go like, why are you going on about just the costume reveal? Like, why would you spend time on this? Because the costume is often indicative of some aspect of the Doctor. Is it something you can necessarily parse in advance? No, not necessarily, but once you've seen the run of each Doctor, again, especially in the modern era, but also true back in classic, there's something about their outfit that is informed by their personality, whether it be something that is just kind of closed off and just very controlled, like the 9th Doctor, whether it be the 10th Doctor looking a little bit dapper, but the tie's loosened and he's got the running shoes, whether it be the 11th Doctor being completely anachronistic, the 13th Doctor being just kind of bubbly chaos in her look. And so, like, this stuff does matter, and there are things to talk about. So let us talk about this look. Oddly enough, the thing that I was kind of most surprised by were that the boots complemented the rest of the outfit. And I'm going to call them boots. In the image where he's just by himself, they look more like shoes, but then we get a little bit of a more complete look at them in the image where where the Doctor's with Ruby Sunday. And yeah, those go high enough to look like boots, and there's more of a sole to them than I thought there would be. So like those seem fairly practical, but they're also, designed. They look like they match this outfit. They're not something that's thrown together. It looks very put together. It's a little bit of a retro look. Actually, I'll back that up. I was going to say it feels kind of 70s. It actually doesn't, but it does feel like something that would be put together today, maybe to evoke or show influence from the 70s or that era of fashion. And it does feel much more like a fashion statement overall than I'm used to seeing from the Doctor. Now, part of me does wonder if having this pulled together a look, this fashionable of a look, because even when the Doctor has had a look that's like, yeah, that's a good look, it's still not necessarily something that you would think current fashion about. Like the 10th Doctor probably came the closest, but even him, with the tight pinstripe suit, like he still stood out a little bit. And I'm assuming Ncuti Gatwa's will as well, but it stands out more in are you going to a photo shoot kind of way? And again, I wonder if that is a direct indication of what we could expect from his personality, whether it's going to be sort of charm, maybe even aloof a little bit, or if it's going to be something in contrast to the personality. Is he going to deliberately look more pulled together than he is to try and compensate? I don't know. I'm not actively speculating or claiming it'll be either one, but I'm floating possibilities because that's what's fun to do about this. Couple of other little details. He has some jewelry. He has the necklaces. I don't know if there's anything actually on there. The image that was put out over Twitter, which is how this was announced, which, okay, before I get back to the jewelry, it's a little bit irritating to me that this stuff is drip feeding largely through Twitter. And so, on the one hand, I get it. First of all, Chibnall was actually very closed off. and didn't drip feed us much at all in between series. And one could even argue that might have been part of what hurt the anticipation of later series after Series 11 is he didn't do much to contribute to building excitement. But, he approached it how he approached it. And so I'm not going to say that I would have preferred silence. But that having been said, like these tiny drip feeds of like, here's the new companion, or here's just an interview we got with the new Doctor on the red carpet. Here's the costumes. Here's an image of Neil Patrick Harris. Just these little tiny drips and not a lot of context for them. They just kind of happen. And on the one hand, like I also expect a lot of this just has to do with let's put it out formally before it gets leaked. And if you don't have like a big cumulative stuff to present all at once, like, the costume and the companion, et cetera, like all in one go, then yeah, drip feeding it to avoid having it leak, which is, I still will contest. I think Ncuti Gatwa's announcement, and the reason we found out about that in a red carpet interview was because they knew it was about to leak. So I get that there is only so much control RTD has over, what's going to work. And if he tries to just be like, no, we'll keep it for a surprise, a lot of the stuff's just going to come out anyways. And so, again, I'm not saying it's bad, this way of approaching it. It's just, I had other stuff I wanted to do with my weekend, but I have to slot this in. But anyway, so coming back to the jewelry, one of them looks a little bit like it might be a medallion or a pendant or maybe even a small cameo or something. The image is such that it looks like it's just blank, but the image might not be high def enough or it might not be zoomed in enough to be sure what that is. Not that I'm going to attribute like massive conspiracy kind of theory to what it would be, but because he'd be far from the first Doctor to have jewelry. The 12th Doctor had rings, 13th Doctor had her joined together earring stuff. It's fine. It has jewelry. It's fine. And also it helps give a little bit a more sort of, texture is the wrong word, but just something to break up the solid orange of the shirt. It's a nice touch. Again, it feels very much informed by not just a costume designer, but a fashion designer. And maybe part of my sense of that is just the way that he's posed, especially when he's paired with Ruby Sunday. But the other thing that I alluded to at the very beginning, he's got a mustache, which we kind of knew from the one tiny clip we've gotten of him as the Doctor, where he goes, "What the hell is going on here?" Like he had a mustache. So I figured it was coming, but it's just kind of interesting to think we haven't ever had a Doctor who had much in the way of facial hair as part of the standard look. Like we saw Matt Smith with a beard, a fake beard, but we saw that, and David Tennant had the sideburns.
Sideburns? I've got sideburns. Oh, really bad skin.
But, proper facial hair just as being part of the look, just being something that's always there, not a one-off and not and I feel like sideburns are the most innocuous form of facial hair. That's new. And again, it feels like it contributes because it's not just that it's a mustache, it is a well-groomed mustache. Now that doesn't necessarily reflect on that the Doctor is grooming it. It's actually one of the things that threw me off when Matt Smith ended up growing a beard in I think it was Day of the Moon, because I remember thinking, oh, given that David Tennant regenerated with the sideburns already there, I kind of just assumed that the facial hair that Time Lords have is just whatever they regenerate with, it just stays that way. So having Matt Smith actually grow a beard kind of threw me off a little bit. But it is kind of my assumption that, he regenerates and that's what it is. And it may or may not actively, grow and be something he has to maintain. But if that's what it's setting up as, again, it's pulled together. It looks maintained. It looks, I was going to say manicured. That's friggin' fingers. It just looks like it is something that maintenance. There we go. It looks like there's maintenance that is put into it. No, but I also said maintain. That's just the same word again. Okay, I'm rambling. I don't have that much to say, but as a look, it wasn't what I was expecting. Well, I say that. I didn't know exactly what I was expecting, but I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. Which to be honest, has been kind of my response to most of the Doctor Who costume reveals. So to sort of backtrack, by the time I got into Doctor Who, Tennant was already Doctor Who. So, or the Doctor. I'm just rambling at this point. I'm tired. It's actually kind of late in my day, and I'm trying to cram this in. Give me a break. But, I saw the costume reveal for Matt Smith, which actually made me a lot more comfortable about him as the Doctor, because when he first got interviewed, when his casting was announced, he was in an outfit that made him look, like a knockoff David Tennant in Christopher Eccleston's costume almost. But then when I saw his actual costume, with the bow tie and the tweed, it was like, oh, okay, that is different. And Peter Capaldi's initial reveal, where he frankly looked like a magician. Jodie Whittaker's reveal, which I felt like I had a bit to say about because it was so thrown together and mismatched. It was kind of just fun to pick apart. This one is so pulled together and so such a complete look that it's a little bit odd. I guess I don't think of the Doctor as being that pulled together. And if this one is, it makes me more curious as to how that is reflective or in contrast to this Doctor's personality. And we're ways off from finding that out. But yeah, it's growing on me. The more I look at it, I'm like, okay. It is also the kind of look that makes me wonder if we'll get alternate looks, because like David Tennant had two suits. He had the blue, he had the pinstripe, even though the pinstripe became a little bit more iconic. Capaldi had a bajillion variations, usually with a different shirt or sweater or jumper, if you want to get British about this. But there's that, and Matt Smith went through multiple revisions, longer coat, sort of a bringing in of purple. Whittaker's didn't really change, but again, I feel like part of that was because it was so singular as a look. Like with Matt Smith, his various looks are kind of relatively distinct, but that bow tie remained. You had something to ground you. And with Capaldi, you always had a coat in the same vein as all the rest, even though there were some variants there as well. There's usually one thing to sort of stick to, and then the rest can shift around it. Whittaker's whole look was so just pulled together in these random bits that it was like, well, what would you even change other than the primary color of the shirt, which they did change. They had a blue one, they had a red one. This one, I'm looking at this and going, I don't know what you would change. I don't know what you would keep and then carry over to a revised or an alternate outfit. I guess maybe change the shirt and keep the suit, or keep the shirt and alter the jacket and the pants. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. We'll see, though. As I said, I wasn't bowled over by this. I honestly really liked Whittaker's costume reveal because it felt like it was revealing a fair bit about her and how she was going to tackle it. This one, it's a little bit harder for me to pin down on that level, but the more I look at it, it's growing on me. And I am still very much looking forward to see what Ncuti Gatwa does. I've eaten up way more time than I thought I would talking about this, but we'll wrap it up there because I want to have dinner and relax, or try to. I don't relax much. I got to work on that. Anyway, what did you think of this costume? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon's what pays the bills and enables me to do this for my living. I can talk. Any amount that you're able to help is a great assistance, even if you can't. Like, share, subscribe also help me out. There's other things that I do. Links to those other projects, etc. are down in the description. Don't worry too much about it, though. What I really want you to remember is that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I'm just running the meetings, and until next time, this council is adjourned. End of the video, so I gotta shout out my top patrons. Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfulla, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Angus Bjarnason, Melinda Walters, Imudelki, The Oath of Boyd, Katoria, Toy Lowly, Becky Sparks, Fernambulax the Poodle, Zach, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Caspro, Tim Price, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Shayla Gourlay, and Brendan LaRose. Thanks for your support. If you want to hear me probably mispronounce your name as well, check out the rewards on the Patreon. How you doing there?